Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. This is one of those days. When it comes, to this channel, or to the radio broadcast, or to the podcasts, or whatever, I'll be honest with you. There are times, right, because I'm not a very highly energetic person. I'll get that right off the bat. And what I function best off of, I always used to mispronounce it. I would call it spontaneity. It's actually called spontaneity. But I would always function best, at least energy-wise and, creativity-wise, and when it comes to making stuff for the channel, off of bouts of spontaneity. Oh, there I go again. Look, I just messed up. Spontaneity. Where it's a spontaneous bouts of energy and motivation, and I'll get an idea, and, I'll just act upon it accordingly. And it's not at that point where, I'm out of ideas, I have nothing. No, it's not like that at all. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of ideas which I'm kind of thinking for future videos that I really want to employ. But there's one factor that's a limiting, it's limiting, you could say, in a way. And that's how I feel. Because in order to carry out a lot of these ideas for some cool videos going forward, you have to have energy, and you have to be feeling well. And if you don't have that energy, or you're not feeling well physically or mentally, you're just not having a good day, that's a problem. And this last weekend, it's been about 4 days, I'd wager. If you hear that, that's just one of the cats doing his thing. I got sick. I honestly don't know what it was from. There's all sorts of definitions of sick, right? Like, that's a sick fit. Or, damn, that's sick. Then there's, sick, like you got the flu. And then there's, oh gosh, I ate something bad level sick. And that's kind of how I've been feeling the last couple days, at least. Where last Friday, was it Friday or was it Thursday? I think it was Friday. It was Friday when I filmed the Taco Bell review, the review for the new Taco Bell Triple X cheese burrito or whatever they called it. And that went fine. Had a lot of energy. I uploaded it on Saturday. Went over to Pizza Hut, got myself a pizza afterwards. I pigged out. I had a feast. I mean, I was just it was incredible. And the next day, I woke up and I felt terrible. Now again, there's all different levels of feeling terrible. But I had a splitting headache, and something wasn't feeling right in my stomach. I said, all right, listen, this stuff happens. It'll pass. I imagine it was just something that I ate that didn't settle well with me, and that was it. So Saturday came and went, and that was that. Well, Sunday I didn't feel any better. And Monday I didn't feel any better. And now it's Tuesday when I'm recording this. If I upload this, it'll probably be on Wednesday. I'm feeling a little better, but this morning was not fun, I'll tell you that. Just lots of pain in my stomach and the whole 9 yards. So, who knows what it is. Food poisoning, maybe. Maybe not. Who's to say? But anyway, as a result of that, of course, when you're not feeling the best, and especially when it's with your stomach and your digestion and all that, the food review is kind of out of the picture. Because the last thing I want to think about right now is food. I mean, you gotta eat. I know that. I've been eating. But to go out and try something and kind of when you're still kind of dealing with this, that's not really going to work. Secondly, of course, when you're not feeling the best, well, that's a limiting factor in and of itself. Because, of course, when you're not feeling good, sometimes it affects one's temperament, sometimes it affects one's energy levels, so on and so forth. And a lot of these, well, I don't really want to call them great ideas because they might actually be terrible ideas, but at least ideas for videos that I want to employ going forward require a lot more energy than I have to expend at this current time. So I had to cross that off the list too. I'm not saying that that's canceled, it just has to be pushed back a little bit for when I'm feeling a bit better and when I kind of get over this, whatever it is. So, alright, I was thinking to myself, well, what should I do then? I mean, I want to do something for the channel. I want to give you guys, something to watch. So what's something that I can do, given what I myself am dealing with, that'd still be, still be something. I said, well, think. So I thought. And yesterday I went out, I tried to film something, but it fell on its face. I mean, I saved the footage, it might be something that I'll upload some other day, but it just didn't really work, because I was forcing it. I was trying to say to myself, just film something. So I filmed something, but that doesn't mean it's anything good, so it didn't really work out. So a day went by, and here I am, and I said, alright, fine. How about you just sit down, set yourself up, set yourself up outside. You got the beautiful fake plant in the background, and the blue wall behind me, and I said, well, just have a chat. Talk about how you're feeling and talk about anything else that's on your mind, so that's what I'm going to do. So I already talked about kind of how I'm feeling, so now let's just talk about what's on my mind. Let me adjust this right here if I can. There we go, now we're looking perfect. What's on my mind? Well, obviously when I haven't been feeling the best, of course, I can't be out running a marathon. I can't be, theoretically speaking, I could, and I'd probably keel over, and that'd be that. So I'm not saying that's impossible. I could try, but I wouldn't likely succeed. You get the picture. So I rested. And I rested, I was kind of laying in bed, had the laptop, and to kill some time I thought to myself, well, I'll watch a couple movies, right? I'll watch a couple movies, to kill some time before I try to get some more sleep and, manage the channel a little bit. So I decided, alright, I'm going to watch a couple movies. Now, when it comes down to films, what genre am I really a sucker for? This might take some of you as a surprise, some of you not so much. I like zombie movies. Some people say, yep, nailed it, I always knew Review Bra was a zombie movie type of guy. Some people not so much, but I like zombie films, I really do. It's a concept that fascinates me, always has. I remember when I was younger, I read the Max Brooks Zombie Survival Guide and the book World War Z. I watch a lot of those movies, but lately I've kind of, it comes in phases. As a way to kill some time, I said, you know what, I'm going to kind of revisit some classics and watch a couple of the George Romero films, the originals. First I started it with the originals, Night of the Living Dead from 68, I think it was. 68 or 69, I don't know which year. But anyway, the cool thing about that film is you could even watch it on YouTube, because there was an issue with the copyright, so it's public domain, and you could just watch it right here on YouTube. But some people, they won't be a fan of it, and others will really like it. But I have appreciation for it because it was kind of the first of its kind. It gave birth to that genre, and anyway, I could go on about that film. Then I decided, all right, I'm going to go on to the next one. I'm going to watch Dawn of the Dead from 1978. And that film I'd never seen before. I knew of the Dawn of the Dead film from 2004. Because that film, they used to play the stupid thing on TV so often. I think they still do, even. And that was really, I knew of the original, but the remake from '04 is the more modernized, Hollywoodized version of the film that gets promoted everywhere. And even, a decade and a half later, you still see it. You could still probably find it on Sci-Fi or AMC at some obscure hour, and they'll be playing it still. Because it's more relevant than the 78 version is. And, that film is your standard one, a lot of more up-to-date gore and higher quality that everyone loves seeing, right? And, let's focus on the characters, more zombies and more blowing whatever's brains out and this and that. And there's many things about that film, the 2004 remake, that I like, and some things that kind of make me scratch my head a little bit. The one scene that always gets me is, the beginning of the film. I mean, it starts off, everything's totally fine, right? Everything's fine. She's working at the hospital, goes home. the stupid scene when they miss the emergency announcement. I'm not even going to get into that. And then they wake up, and her husband or whatever gets killed, and she goes outside, and the place is just completely gone down the tubes overnight. Thinking to myself, where did all this come from? I mean, 8 hours ago it was completely fine, and all of a sudden now everything's on fire and everyone's freaking out. I mean, it strikes me as something that would have happened more gradually, and eventually it would get to a point where everything hits the fan. But it's not going to go 180 overnight like it did in the film. But that's just a useless plot thing. Everyone just wants to see the destruction, and you're not supposed to put any more thought into it than that. But anyway, I was thinking about the 1978 version of the film, and compared to the 2004 version, I mean, some people will like it, some people won't. They'll say, yeah, it's just a cheesy 70s film, whatever. But I watched that too, and I liked it. I mean, I honestly enjoyed it because it focuses more on character development and some of the practicalities of the situation, which the 2004 version of the film doesn't. The 2004 version of the film rather just focuses on, all right, let's get these people in the shopping mall and kill a bunch of zombies and this and that, and that's cool and everything. But the 78 version of the film focuses a little bit more, at least, on the kind of collapse of society. And it makes more sense timing-wise, where it already starts taking place 3 weeks in, and the government's barely holding on, and things are, barely going. And there's some areas where people are holding out better than others. And there's some broadcasting stations that are still on the air, whereas others aren't. And to me, that just seems more practical. Instead of everything immediately shutting down within the first day, I think there'd be pockets of areas, if this were to really play out, where certain, at least governments, local, state, or otherwise, would be able to hold out more than others, and, made sense. But still, I mean, it's a 70s film, take from it what you will. Don't expect the top-tier CGI and everything that you'd get in a 2018 film, but at least I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. And then I was watching a few more films. What did I go to next? I went to the 2007 film, Diary of the Dead, because I had already previously watched a 2005 film, Land of the Dead. That one, I wasn't a fan of. The whole concept of the film just bugs me. So that one, I skipped it. I've already seen it. But I never really watched the 2007 film, Diary of the Dead. And that film is supposed to have been George Romero's take on emerging media in a zombie apocalypse. And some concepts of that film really do kind of hold their own in today's world. But with an update, I think that film could do relatively well, because it kind of focuses on this group of film students with their professor who happens to be, this combat veteran, right, who's really been there, and just by pure luck. And they decide, hey, let's document this. Let's document the fall of society, and post it on our MySpace page. See, that's where it doesn't age well. And they're starting to film stuff, and they're posting it to their MySpace page, and it's kind of going viral. And they decide, well, shoot, we're getting all these views on our zombie footage. Let's find more tapes and stuff and try and document this, essentially. Well, they're also trying to find their own, but they're kind of maintaining this. Now, thinking to myself, this film could really hold up well today if they did a little bit of a reboot. Instead of making it MySpace, just change it to YouTube, And there you go. Make it a group of amateur or professional YouTubers that find themselves in the zombie apocalypse and are trying to get those views, right, off of the carnage and everything else. So there were a few things in that film that I liked, but again, there's these little subtle, stupid things that I pick up on for some reason that just get me. Like there's this one scene in the film where they're scrolling around and they find this footage, some birthday party, and upload it to their MySpace page, where somehow the clown at the birthday party turned into a zombie. And I even went as far as to look into the site TV Tropes, which is a great site, by the way. And so this just made me laugh, because I was thinking the same thing. How did this guy end up as a zombie? I mean, it's at a children's birthday party, and he was in his clown makeup. So obviously when he got to the house, he wasn't a zombie because someone had to let him in. So then what happened? Did he just go to the bathroom and change into his clown costume? Or did he use the bathroom and then die and become a zombie and somehow get his way out of the bathroom and navigate his way through the house to the birthday party without running into anyone in the way? And just a silly technicality that I thought too much over. And then there's one other scene in the film where they're in this RV. This guy's got a radio and he's scanning around on it. And he hears this preacher that really reminded me of Brother Stare, who some of you know this, some of you don't. He's this guy on the Shortwave, evil guy, but you could read up on him. He's this terrible scamming preacher who used to, on the Shortwave, used to turn the dial and he was everywhere. I mean, he had so much airtime, but he's got a very distinct sounding voice, and this guy on the radio that they were tuned into sounded like him, and that kind of just ruined that whole scene for me. Just having some miscellaneous talk is all. On one final note, and then I'm just going to wrap it up, because again, I said I just want to kind of sit here, talk a little bit, chat, just about what I've been doing over the last few days, because again, I've kind of just been, I don't want to call it bedridden because that makes it sound far worse than it is, but I've just really been trying to take it easy, and I haven't had a lot of energy, so I've just been watching a lot of these zombie movies to kind of, occupy my time. But on a final note, I was thinking about the famous TV series The Walking Dead, and it's not really a zombie movie, but it's a zombie TV series, and I think this is a popular opinion at this point, and it's something I'm just going to cover in brief. I stopped watching it. I stopped at about probably whenever they got to Alexandria, I stopped. And I want to just tell you in the briefest of terms why I stopped watching it. Because when I first started watching The Walking Dead, again, what I really enjoy seeing in zombie films is kind of a collapse in society, to see how things would play out. A collapse in communication, a collapse in government, a collapse in authority, or perhaps how certain governments are able to hold on, even if it's by a thread, and, the general progress thereof. I think that's what a lot of people like in zombie films. And, anyway, Season 1 was fine. Season 2 was fine. Then Season 3 and Season 4, they started falling into a trap. And it's something that it lost my interest. Where The Walking Dead focused too much, in my opinion, on interpersonal conflicts and drama between the characters, and less on civilization and zombies and this and that. There were a lot of frustrating decisions in the series, a lot of stupid mistakes, and it was as though the writers ended up finding themselves, well, shoot, I don't know what to do. Well, just repeat the same plot and just put it in a different place. All right, fine. And that seems like what happened. We're all right, Rick's group finds a place, they go in, suddenly their appearance just trashes the place and everything goes right down the tubes. Then some evil guy shows up, and they fight the evil guy, and a couple people die. Then they introduce a few more people, and then they find another place, and they find another evil guy, and then a few more people die, and then there's some needless drama, and then a couple zombies show up here and there, and then they find some other evil guy, and then a few, and it was like that, and I just said, that's not really what I watched the show for. I said, I just lost my interest. So then Fear of the Walking Dead came around, which gave me a lot of hope. Because it was kind of, I guess the writers of The Walking Dead realized this issue. And they said, alright, we gotta do something about it, The Walking Dead's still making us a ton of money. We're filthy rich. But it might not stay that way forever. So let's go to Plan B and focus on something that is more, more relevant to what perhaps a lot of our viewers may have wanted to begin with. As I said, the fall of society. So Fear the Walking Dead came about, which was supposed to take place in LA and focus on the early days of this zombie apocalypse. And season 1, I thought was great. There was some frustration. It's like they really didn't know what to do when the National Guard showed up, so they just suddenly had a time jump of like a week and a half, and that was very frustrating. But I guess maybe they had a budget issue or there's a writer's block or whatever. That can happen, I understand it. But season 1 I really didn't have a problem with. But then season 2 came, and I found it kind of getting into the doldrums. Where while they're on the ship and everything, it's all going fine. But then when they got into Mexico, I don't know. It's like the writers just reverted back to what they always do. Where just, again, getting into the standard issue with the plot. Issue with, alright, let's find another evil overlord or something, and have more drama between the characters, and so on. And they found themselves getting into the Walking Dead trap again. And that kind of left me disappointed. I couldn't make my way through season 2, and I gave up on that. Now, a lot of people have told me, I haven't watched it, that season 3 of Fear the Walking Dead is great. But I haven't gotten there. I couldn't make it through season 2. Maybe if I try to marathon it, I'll be able to get there. But season 2, I just hit a wall, and I couldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But people apparently, they said there's a lot of good stuff in season 3 of Fear the Walking. Maybe I'll try again. Who knows? Maybe I'll try again, and we'll see. But that's just my observations, at least from it all. So anyway, as I said, I haven't been feeling the best today. Just some issues with with my stomach and all that. I don't know if it was something I ate, I don't think I got poisoned, but maybe food poisoning. Maybe just, I don't know. But it's one of those days where I've just been, really taking it easy, and I said to myself this morning again, I just want to talk about kind of what I've been doing over the last few days, and I've been watching a lot of zombie movies in my free time, so I wanted to talk about them. Just some miscellaneous thoughts, some miscellaneous commentary. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm going to try to record the newest radio broadcast, which will focus on a couple things. I recommend you check it out. It's going to be airing this Thursday on TuneIn, SoundCloud, Shortwave. You could find some information at the end of this video, in the description, and in the comments also. But anyway, yeah, I hope you understand. I just, again, haven't had a lot of energy lately, haven't been feeling the best. And, once I get better, once I kind of feel better and have that energy boost, there's a couple good ideas I want to employ. Got a couple more reviews out for you. And, as I say, onward and forward, and that this channel shall go. But until then, dear listeners, as I said, just giving you a couple thoughts. Hoping to get better soon, hoping to feel better soon, and until then, again, check out the broadcast this Thursday. And that's all that I have for you. But thank you for putting up with my miscellaneous conjecture. That's all that I have. Thank you again. Hope you've been having a great week so far, and I hope your week continues to be a wonderful one, if it hasn't already. And I'll see you later. That's all that I have. I'm your host, the Report of the Week.